Hey everyone, I hope you can hear me well, and I hope that you enjoyed my elevator music. Um, Great meeting you all. Thank you for joining. And I am super happy to welcome John from Frontify that will introduce himself in just a moment. Um, we have a super interesting topic and conversation that we planned for today, and John will share their amazing work on how they actually build a customer-led experience, and we will talk about that in just a moment. For those of you who are not familiar, EverAfter is a customer interface platform that our mission basically is to help companies achieve better results with their customers by allowing them to productize a whole bunch of different programs, from implementation to success plans, to university, to academy, to pre-kickoff questionnaire, and a whole bunch of different programs to allow you to help your customers to achieve better results. And our platform basically has all of the core components on how you should productize the programs. With a no-code interface, we provide data-driven insight to help you to improve the programs that you've implemented. We allow a lot of automations and personalization logic. We support over 100 integration, and we are a fully white label solution that could actually live inside your app. And that's my last slide. Just some of the results our customers achieve. They see a nice increase in product adoption. They can see time saved for CSM, reduction in time to value, and a lot of the actions actually completed by customers. So with that being said, I'm happy to welcome John from Frontify. John, if you can share a bit about yourself, about Frontify, and what is it that we're here to discuss?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is John. I'm very happy to be here, actually. I watch a lot of your webinars, Shahar, and I think you guys always bring really nice content into it. So I hope I'll do it justice today as well. Just a little bit about me, and maybe I can also share my screen as well. There you go. Perfect. I hope you guys can see my screen as well. Yeah, so a bit about me. I have been with Frontify for about almost 3 years now. And I essentially look after our customer success operations for the EMEA growth team. And I also manage our global strategy for customer onboarding. So quite a mixed job, but also very rewarding. There was never a dull day, but that's why I love it at the end of the day. For those who don't know Frontify, we're essentially we help creative and marketing teams to store, document, and share their brand content and assets. So we essentially provide this brand building platform that brings together a user-friendly digital asset management system and also customizable brand portals. So we work with many different brands to try to help them to unify their brand experience across all their touch points. You probably recognize some of these companies here, but we basically work with many different industries, from smaller companies to larger corporations. And we're quite a global company as well. So we have an office in New York, in London, where I'm based. And our head office is in St. Gallen in Switzerland. If you haven't been there, it's a lovely town full of lovely people. So definitely recommend paying a visit if you're in Switzerland at some point.
Cool. So
yeah,
I've been there, and it's a really, really nice place indeed. And actually, when I was visiting their offices, I think it was in March or something like that, and you introduced me to a whole bunch of different teams, and they all had a really nice mindset of like a customer-facing North Star vision. So if you can share a bit what it means to you and to your company, so our audience can listen.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've always been very customer centric, and that has always been kind of like the vision across different departments in our company, right? To take a step back of how we sort of got in touch with EverAfter and you know, why we're here today, because we have all of these different teams and all of these um, ways of interacting with customers, and it means that we end up doing a lot for our customers, right? From the work that customer success does, but also, for example, how we work together with partnerships to support our customers, for example, or how our marketing team interacts and also keeps our customers up to date, not just what goes on with our platform, but also what goes on in the branding world. And then there's obviously the other teams that also interact. So a lot of different touch points out there. And this has been a journey for us, but we've been realizing that, you know, what we needed was to create this customer-led Frontify experience. And this has been our vision for the last couple of years, 3 years, and try to get to a point where we would be able to create this better experience for our customers, to empower them, but also to empower our CSMs so that we would have different ways of reaching out to our customers. And so the goal was to essentially create this customer hub where sort of all this vision comes together, right? It's where we would create this one place where customers can find everything they need, and all of these different touch points, everything we do with the customer, we can actually merge all of that into one place.
So I'm obviously sold on this vision, and I really think that being a customer or building a customer-led experience has a lot of different advantages that we can cover and demonstrate today. Spoiler, you chose EverAfter to be the platform where you will build a customer hub. I'm sure the audience would be interested to hear why EverAfter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can actually give some sort of paint a little bit of the picture of what got us here, right? So we started by actually looking into Frontify, our platform, right? Because we have a component of a content management system, and so we thought we could maybe create that type of experience within our own platform. But we soon realized that you know, we were missing some key features, some key points of like bringing all the teams together into this space. It wasn't just about having, you know, a page where we keep all the information static there. Like we wanted to do more with that. And so we also looked at our existing tools. We had, you know, a few tools we considered. We had a really good onboarding tool at the time that we were considering for this as well, but it didn't really fit all the use cases that we're looking. And there were essentially these three main points that we looked into and that made us go with EverAfter. So the first one was just, you know, it's a very user-friendly platform, not just for the CSMs who manage it, but also for the customer. We managed to we have this blank canvas that we can just design how we want in a way that is super simple. Goes also very well with our branding that tends to be more simplistic as well. We wanted to also make sure that the platform that we would choose would be something that would allow us to support our entire customer life cycle, right? So not just looking at specifically the onboarding or implementation, but we wanted to also support what comes before that and after the onboarding as well, especially. Different use cases, obviously, as I mentioned, and definitely one big point for us was also connectivity and making it easier to integrate with our own tool stack as well. So, you know, having a full integration with our CRM, with Salesforce, you know, certain tools that we use like Gong, for example, was a massive point for us.
Cool. And ever since I think that you built and obviously in a moment you will demonstrate, but you've built a really inspiring, I think, customer interface or customer hub. throughout the different stages. So which programs did you implement for this customer hub concept?
So we took, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, but we really had a lot of use cases in mind, and we're definitely not finished with our work. But initially, we wanted to focus on maybe the one that has the most priority to us, which is the one that involves customers, obviously, and going back to that. That sum of all the different interactions and things that we do, we wanted to create these three steps, these three stages of our journey. So first, this pre-onboarding stage, as we call it. So this is that moment that when the sale is, coming into final stages and finalizing the agreement, to then starting the onboarding. And then finally, after onboarding, also having a space where we can continue that collaboration with the customer as well, right? And so you now can see sort of all of those different interactions and things that we do. We try to sort of align them with these three journeys and organize them that way. So this was the idea behind at least our first use cases that we wanted to prioritize with EverAfter.
Okay, I know that we did plan to share some information about each of these stages. So maybe you can share.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and just to also give a little bit of an overview of how we describe this customer hub and all these different stages to customers. We really see it as this sort of go-to resource center, like having a one place where we can enhance the experience from our customers, no matter which stage of the journey they are. The idea is that they will go to the hub and find everything they need, from the initial onboarding materials that they need to get started, to then all the different resources and again, materials and videos and things like that that will then help supporting our collaboration as well. We have I put together a few snapshots for you guys so that you can kind of display each one of these ones. I'll start with the pre-onboarding. So this is essentially the part that comes right after, so final stages of sale and then right after signature. And again, this is just a sneak preview, but essentially during the interactions that our sales team has with the customer, we try already having some, manage the customer's expectations into what will the onboarding include and what are the things that we need to do, and also what resources and what sort of help do we give to our customers as well. So during our pitch, we normally include some snapshots and some previews of what our hub looks like. When the customer signs the agreement with us, we then have our automated emails going out to the customer, letting them know that they can go to the hub and get started, right? During this pre-onboarding, we really looked into a way of not just collecting important information that we need to prepare for the kickoff, but we also wanted to make sure that we have a perfect opportunity here to already start educating our customers as well, right? And so we make it a mix of collecting some information. In some cases, if we already know that information, we also that will be pre-populated for the customer as well. And also we include some initial videos and some materials and resources so that the customer can start exploring as well a bit more about Frontify. We then move on to onboarding, right, when we start getting our hands dirty. But before that, just wanted to check if you have any comments as well.
Yeah. So by the way, if you have any questions, you can just write it down on the Q&A. But I do want to maybe to focus or to double down on this stage. And I think that this is a really good opportunity to use customers' motivation and to really utilize that to your benefit and make sure that because they sign a contract, right? And probably they sign a contract and their motivation level to start is really, really high. And then usually it might take some time until you book a kickoff meeting with them, or during the kickoff meeting, you could spend a lot of time just like to ask some questions or to clarify. And I really, really like this program because it gives them something to do before they actually even meet you. They feel like they've done something, they provided information, they see how they progress already. And then once they start with the actual kickoff, you already have so much information on them. And if it's pulling from Salesforce or from the fields that you already collected. And I really, really think that this creates a nice start to the relationship with customers. So I really like this program.
Yeah, for sure. And we also had, really positive feedback about this as well from different customers. We try to, we understand that customers, people are different and they learn in different ways, right? So some people really rely on that, human interaction to start getting on with things. But we also have a lot of customers that appreciate us sharing things in advance with them, so they can start getting prepared, getting into, even sometimes talking to their own teams about what is Frontify and what are they going to be doing. Because I'm sure it's the same with a lot of us. We have maybe 1, 2, 3 main contacts that we work with throughout the sales cycle. But when actually you start to work, then you have to involve other stakeholders, and just having a place where anyone can go and just start. Some of the videos we have in there, they're about what is Frontify, what do we do. Some of the webinars that we did before, we give a little glimpse of like different use cases and things we can do, just to kind of open the horizons a little bit for our customers just before they start and before we have the kickoff. And then we sort of dive in and get our hands dirty, so to speak.
It looks like you provide really nice value even before you actually met them. So I'm all in favor. Cool.
Good.
Let's see if
We
we
hope
have
so.
any questions. Yeah, I do see that we have a question from Tony. Are customers able to go back and update their contract later in the journey as well, like a self-service contract management? That's a really, really good question, actually, and we're definitely going to answer this one. Either now or later, John, it's up to you.
Yeah, sure. I think we have with our own journey, we don't have that sort of step included. So as soon as the agreement is taken care of, we can just move on for the next step. But there are, for example, some mini tasks that we need the customer to do or prepare. And this was actually one big win for us. So before we implemented this, that step needed to always be done after the kickoff, because it was the only opportunity we had to talk to the customer about it, provide some information, and then we would get started. With this, we have a step, for example, for us to start setting up their actual brand and account environment, and their domain, and they have to provide some information as well about their IT requirements. And so rather than waiting until we have the kickoff and only after tackling that step, we just included a really nice, simple video that kind of gives a general idea of what the customer needs to do. And then we have that task for the customer to do. We also have kind of like a plan B. That task is not mandatory. So if the customer does have some questions on it, when they start the onboarding, we can check if that task has been done or not. And if it hasn't been done, then it will be included as one of the first steps of their onboarding. So this way we kind of cover all possibilities. But it is one of those things that having that flexibility allows us to cater for these type of scenarios as well.
All right. So the pre-onboarding is a really, really solid program that we even demonstrate throughout the sales process. And then once they start, you share it with them, and then they completed this pre-onboarding step.
Yeah. So this was actually one that we, I don't know, we feel very proud of it, just because where we were before, we actually had already a pretty good understanding of what the journey should be, even though it was very sort of static. So, there wasn't much change in the type of journey we would provide across the different types of users and customers. One thing that we wanted to do is sort of going back to that mission of doing a customer-led experience. And we thought about what would be the best way of providing that during the onboarding process. You heard me talking about those two main components of brand building for us, of the digital asset management and also the guidelines and brand portal. And so this is actually one of the main questions that we have always when we start onboarding with our customers, which is, which one of those core parts of our platform do you want to prioritize first? And there's others as well, but these two were definitely on top of our list. So one of the things that we do as soon as the customer finishes that pre-onboarding, comes into onboarding, is we give them the options to choose which one is your main priority, what's going to be your onboarding focus. So they can choose one of two options. And based on the option they choose, for example, if it is digital asset management, we then shape their onboarding tasks according to that. So for example, the trainings that we offer, instead of starting with the generic brand guidelines, we would then start with the digital asset management part of it. The implementation tasks that they also have, we kind of switch the order and only include tasks that make sense for that type of experience. So this was something that we really wanted to do, because obviously, every customer is different. I know that saying is thrown around a lot, but we try to, as much as possible, to shape those experiences for our customers, and making sure that whatever they see when they get in here, it makes sense for them. And we also went to the point where we actually shape some of the content that is in here depending on the user persona as well. So if, for example, they are a main contact, maybe a project lead, someone who's going to be really leading the onboarding project, then they basically see the whole thing, because they're supposed to be in charge of it. But maybe if it is someone with more of a contributor type of role, they don't necessarily need to see everything. And so there are parts that we hide or show depending on their persona.
Sorry. All right. A few things that I think worth mentioning here. From the beginning of this program, you actually ask customers, what are your priorities? And based on that, you design the journey that will meet their priority. And I think this is something that is very key to the success of the implementation, because you don't just enforce them to do something because you think. You really ask them, and then gives them everything that they need accordingly. The fact that you can personalize it by the persona. So there's a concept of the next best action, which basically means that we need to curate to our customers the most important thing that they need to do. So if, for example, I'm someone that there is a very specific task that I need to do, so maybe I shouldn't even see all of the other tasks, because it will distract me from the action that I need to take. In addition to that, I can definitely see that you use a lot of user experience elements, such as blurring the next step and creating like this almost gamification to the process, which obviously can help as well.
Yeah, we tried to make, and one of our customers actually described the journey as being fun and interactive. So we try to make that element of gamification also come from our experience from before. We saw that often customers are not really looking to have like a full-blown project management system and have like all tasks in front of them. That might be useful for some situations, but normally it's a bit too much for most people. And so we try to have these sort of nuggets of information being fed one by one, step by step. And we found that actually it helps the customer to sort of digest things as they go along with the onboarding process. I wanted to also mention one thing, and going back to Tonia's question from before about the contacts. We do have also here a component where we allow customers to have a workspace where they can actually keep providing us with information during onboarding, share files and things like that, and also update contacts. So that same contacts table that we have during pre-onboarding, we also have it in the onboarding and the live hub as well, so that at any point, if they need to change their contacts or add new people, they can also do that throughout, doesn't matter which state of the journey they are as well. And they have, again, being customer-led, they have full control over that, and they can invite their own users to the hub as well using that table of contacts.
I mean, I'm sure that we can speak like a full hour just on the onboarding program, but I know that we have one more live program to share. So maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has been maybe the most transforming part of for us, because while it is something that we've always done as a customer success team to support our customers after going live, we didn't really have a space where we could do that in sort of a consistent way across the team. And again, it was always something very driven by the CSM. So we always had our different materials and presentation decks and all types of resources that we would share manually with customers. But again, we wanted to provide customers with a space where we could continue that collaboration on. So our Live Hub is essentially focused on these 4 elements. So first, having our success plans there, which I'm going to dive in a second. We also want to give our customers a chance to explore and discover things. So again, rather than relying on emails and things like that to make this sort of communication about what's going on with Frontify, important links and things that they shouldn't be aware of, right, regarding our collaboration and about their platform as well. But also having a workspace, help center, so a place where they can always access resources in help pages. And then finally, this sort of subscription and contact section as well, which I'll dive in a second, but it's also very useful for us. So I'll start with the success plan focus. This is, again, following the same philosophy that we have in onboarding. We also want to give the chance for the customer to interact and take initiative to select their own success plan. So we've always had these different playbooks that we use as a reference point, right? So we kind of converted those. And I'm sure many of the people here, especially if you work in customer success, you are used to have your own, documents or presentations that or even email templates that we use as a base when customers come to us with, questions about what should I do? How should I enhance my brand? When we are discussing goals, for example, and then we tend to recommend a few steps to them. We wanted to have a bit of more solid, more consistent way of doing this type of collaboration with our customers. And so what you see here is an example of, one of our success plans, which is simply how to add a different brand into our platform. And so customers can actually choose that on their own. We also allow for some customization. So the customer chooses their success plan, and we can actually customize it a little bit to match that brand's needs. But just to start with, they have a pool of resources there. Again, they have this step-by-step guide to how to get started, some videos in there that are super useful. And this way, it doesn't feel that we're starting from scratch, right? We have many other plans to add a few more. In fact, we have 4 more use cases, success plans already planned to implement, hopefully by the end of this year. But it's one of the most changing things for us, because up until now, all of this was done manually, to the credit of our CSMs, which they do a very good job at it. But this way, we're also not putting so much weight on their shoulders, right? The idea is to empower both the customer, but also the CSM at the same time.
That's a really great example on how you could actually productize something that you did either manually or each CSM had their own way of doing that, and like creating a strategy behind it and to allow the personalization, but under like a more consistent and scalable and repeatable way. So I think this is a really, really good example of a customer facing or a customer led success plan.
Absolutely, yes. And then, so what we're looking at here now is like that sort of giving you guys a tour of the other sections of the hub as well. Those same questions that we asked during the pre-onboarding and also that were available during onboarding We then move those questions here as well so that we always have a point of reference. So to know what are the customer's goals, their use cases, their main priorities. And so this always stays with us so we can continue working with our customers. We have this huge help center in here as well, where they have access to our academy, to different customer examples and things like that. We also starting, again, coming back to all of those different touch points and interactions. When our marketing team, for example, has something to announce, we very recently had our product keynote done just a few days ago. And so it's an opportunity for us to put this in front of the customer in here as well when they log in. Same way with our product insights, feature requests. We have a space where customers can actually do that directly and submit their ideas to our product team from there as well. And so again, comes back to giving customer the power to have access to all these things and do a lot on their own without necessarily having to always contact the CSM to do these kind of things. And I wanted to also touch on the sort of subscription and contact section, which for us was kind of it was something that we actually just thought it would be just useful to have. But then actually realized that actually had a really big positive impact as well. I'll talk about that in a bit more in a second, but in this section, just to give you some context, we have starting out essentially some information about the customer's subscription, so the different products that they have included, and an explanation of what those products are. You would be surprised with sometimes the amount of customers, people change, roles change, people move around, and so the amount of times we have to have these conversations with customers explaining what they have as part of their agreement and introducing new teams to it as well. So it's useful to have this information there as well. We, again, give customer the option to manage the account contacts and agency contacts that they have associated with the hub. But also it's a good way to know who are the main contacts so we can ensure that we're getting in touch with the right people and sending communications to the right people as well. And a big thing for us, actually, little things, simple things like updating these sort of contacts, updating something like the billing contact, for example, is something that we were not able to do before unless it was manually. And I mean, anyone who has been a CSM or has managed CSMs knows how tricky it is to keep all of that data clean and always up to date. And so by allowing customers to manage that on their side actually helps us a lot on both parts. So we're quite happy with that as well.
All right. So I think that we cover now the three active programs that you have throughout the different stages. And when I asked you before, when we prepared this session, if you can share with the team or with the audience, sorry, what were you able to see? If you have any metrics that you follow, then you build a really, really nice slide for that.
Yeah, for sure. So we launched the hub not that long ago with all these three journeys. And these are just a few numbers just for reference of what we've seen in the first 30 days, right? So first of all, we're quite happy with the fact that we actually didn't do much promotion of the hub. We send out, one mass email and we obviously told our CSMs to tell our customers about it. So we actually had 470 new users visiting the hub. 59% of them visited more than once, and we also saw a big portion of all of those users taking actions with that content as well. This is really encouraging to us because it's kind of like a sign that all that effort that we put in making sure that content was user friendly and not good looking and easy to use. We can see actually that customers are interacting with it and coming back, and so that tells us that we're going the right direction at least. We obviously had nice feedback from customers as well. These are just a couple of references. I'm not allowed to share the names of the companies, but I promise you the customer 1 and 2 are real customers, not just pretending. But overall feedback was, very positive in terms of the whole experience and how the content was shown. And one really maybe unexpected positive impact as well was the number of contacts that we had coming in clean. So this was just a few days after we started working with customers, introducing them to their subscription and contacts and all of those sections. We noticed that customers actually wanted to take initiative to update the contacts themselves and making sure that list was always up to date. With this exercise, it basically meant that we added 400 more contacts to our marketing mail list, because obviously all of this is connected to our CRM. And also meant that we did a massive cleanup. We had over 200 older contacts that were inactive, or customers that have moved on, contacts that move on to other roles or were not involved anymore. And so that was a really positive experience, because we I guess we didn't estimate that the amount of just by giving the power to the customer, it doesn't actually feel like an extra task. Customers will do that voluntarily. Our marketing team obviously appreciates it, because they don't have to chase our CSMs around because the contacts are out of date. And we're making full use of our integrations as well to leverage this without actually putting the effort on anybody per se.
Yeah, and I think that if we were to calculate how much time it saved, so first of all, maybe it would never be a task that you would ask the team, because maybe it's a tool hustle to do that. But the fact that they generated like their own success plan, and then they clean up your CRM, and they did a lot of different actions, I think that eventually it's a really good indication of the value that they see with Frontify, because we do believe that if they did action, it means that they capture another value piece from the Frontify solution.
For sure.
Just for the question here on the chat, so do the clients add contact in EverAfter and it creates a contact by fields you set in your CRM? So we have a bi-directional integration directly with your CRM. So we will mirror the information from the CRM, and then the customers could actually update and create contacts, and it will update directly your CRM, and you can decide which columns or which fields they should update.
Yeah.
So I know that we are just relatively at the start of your customer-led experience, and you have a really, really, really powerful vision that you agreed to share with this audience.
Yeah. So this was something we kind of this was really helpful for us. This concept of having a moonshot basically into like all the different possibilities, all the different use cases that we were planning to explore. So the idea from the start was to take all of these different interactions we have with the customer and bring them all to one place. Or obviously, EverAfter is in the middle of all of that. And so to start with, we started with the most crucial, which was the customer success part. But there are many other areas, many other teams that we work with as well, that we wanted to make sure that we're tackling as well. So partnerships is a good example. So as we were building the hub, we were planning to also move on to partnerships later on, but there was so much excitement, and as we started sharing more and more things internally, the partnerships team actually took initiative to get started a bit sooner and started working on their partner hub also sooner as well. We also this was actually quite efficient for us, because some of the work that we were doing to onboard our own customers, we could also reuse some of those assets and some of those task lists we were creating, and sort of recycle them, repurpose them to onboard our own partners as well, right? And so our partners also have a place where they can have some guidance for their onboarding, but also have a one space where they can see all the different resources and things that they need in order to work with us and work with our customers as well. And so these are just a few snapshots of what you can see there, but it's a really rich environment where they can find everything they need, and it really helps our partnerships team, where again they don't have to rely on all of these different presentations and materials and emails and templates. Everything is just in one place, and they can just point our partners to it as well. And then from there, obviously, the sky is the limit, right? And there's a lot of things we want to do. We're very ambitious, but for us, it's really crucial that we keep on building on top of what we have already done. So definitely a lot of improvements that we're planning on doing on the customer experience as well, and more, let's say, not sure if specialization is the right word, but we definitely want to tailor that journey more and more to become more sophisticated, so that we can provide a great experience, depending if you're, from a certain industry, from a certain type of company, for example. So we want to do a lot more in that sense. And at the same time, we want to expand these journeys that we've built to also go beyond the onboarding and the live experience as well. So the first one is with our own sales team. We're now planning launching and starting to build a deal room. So essentially, before the pre-onboarding. So this would be the pre-onboarding, when we're still working with our prospects and having a space where we can follow that sales journey, where again they can find everything they need at that stage, and also gives us the opportunity to start educating our customers, providing resources and helping them prepare for the next steps, even before starting onboarding. The second use case for us we're going to prioritize as well is our working with our technical solutions. So there's a lot of cases where we integrate with different platforms out there, or sometimes there's cases where customers, they need some assistance in migrating their assets from other platforms. And we want to make sure that we're also enhancing that journey as well. So we already provide some support for that in our onboarding journey, but we want to, make sure our customers always know what is going on, what is their next step. And so with that, leveraging our integration with Salesforce, we can actually do a lot more than what we do today. And then the third case is actually building what we're calling a trust center. This will most likely live somewhere in our deal room, but also in our live hub. I'm sure anyone can relate, throughout the relationship with the customer, you have, I don't know, countless documents and in terms of legal and security aspects, there's always a lot of things to keep track of. And so we want to have just a one place where customers can access that information, not just from the agreement itself, but also other documents that are important to, to keep organized. So that's essentially the, the three main things we're going to focus on, and many, many more will come for sure.
All right. So just like from a personal note, so we've been working together for a year now, and I mean, I met a lot of people in Frontify, and obviously we work very closely together, and it's been a true pleasure to see how company really puts a vision and within a record time make it a reality. And I think this is really, really, really inspiring, and it puts a really high bar of how a customer success organizations should operate. So thank you for sharing that with us. I hope that people here got some ideas on how they can better plan their 2025 customer programs.
No, thank you. I also want to say it's been a true pleasure, and obviously a lot of the stuff you see here built, it took some, as you know, Shahar, and the brainstorming sessions and the back and forth with questions. So we also appreciate, not just with you, but actually with everyone we came across from EverAfter. You guys have been very, very supportive. So yeah, very happy with that.
All right, I know that we are on time. If someone has questions, or if they want to have to continue the discussion with you, how can they reach out?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find that my directory there. And yeah, feel free to add me as a connection, send me a message. Always happy to chat with other peers out there. You know, anyone who's going through the same pain and suffering that we do. Always good to exchange ideas and how to you know, make things better. Yeah, I would say, you know, if there's any questions, if you know, if you've seen something today that you've found useful, I'm happy to, you know, exchange ideas on that as well.
All right, John, thank you so much for sharing this experience and this mindset with us. For those of you who are now in the process of, okay, we have 2025 and we need to build our vision, and we need to see how we're approaching 2025. So I encourage you to schedule some time with us. Let's talk, and we can see how we can help you productize your customer programs. So thank you all. I wish all of you a pleasant day. And John, thanks again, and see you soon in person, I think, right? Next week, in 2 weeks.
Yes, hopefully so. Thank you, Shahar, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.